Hello.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning.
Welcome to Ready, Set, Action. Um, you are joining Christina Whitmer and myself, Deborah Horowitz, as we talk about tips and tricks to help our businesses and clients just grow and be more productive. So
Nice.
today's topic is higher converting career sites, and I'm going to be offering 5 tips to start us off for 2025. Hi, Christina. How are you this morning?
Hi. I'm good. I'm ready. I'm excited about this topic. A career site, it's a big deal. I think it's people forget how, important it is because you start to see a glimpse of culture and things with that. It's not just a job listing board. It's a place to show who you are. So I can't wait. Um, let's hear it. What are some of these key elements? I think the employee or the employer brand is a huge thing that people sort of skip sometimes. So,
Yes, yes. I have been in recruitment marketing for over 25 years, and the thing that is most striking to me is when people really focus on creating compelling content on their career site.
mhm.
The benefits are so impactful, not only for them as an organization, but also for the candidates that they are trying to attract to
Mhm.
them, you know? And you really hit the nail on the head with the employer brand. That's actually tip number one. I remember when everything was coming online, and 25 years ago, and we were all trying to figure out what is this new world of online advertising. And um, the thing at that point in time was just get a page on your company website, excuse me, and then embed the functionality of the applicant tracking system
Right.
to do the job search, right?
Hmm.
And so all you were really doing was directing that candidate over to do a job search
Yeah.
and then to apply. And do you know that to today, there are still some companies that have that as their functionality. And I'm
Yeah.
sad for them. They are missing out on so many top quality candidates because
Absolutely.
that job description is not going to do it for them when
Hmm.
it's just ATS boilerplate
Absolutely.
kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right?
It
So
perpetuates that black hole myth and or sometimes fact, right? With when it's just what is it for? Like it's crazy.
yeah, yeah, it's like, really, what is the end result that you're trying to achieve by doing it that way? But when you can incorporate the employer brand and really reflect that on the career site. So I'm talking, talk about the company culture, right? Talk about the employee experiences, do testimonials, do photos of the employees actually in their daily life, whenever you can. Of course, if you're in healthcare, you've got to be a little bit more concerned with, patient privacy and stuff like that in terms of photos. But you can, show them celebrating, in a conference room, somebody's birthday or whatever, just to communicate to that potential candidate what is it like to work there, right? You can do videos. You can really talk even about the company's impact, whether it be on the local community, whether it be that they might have some national or international impact, climate impact, or whatever it is, that organization um, serves, right, as their mission and their vision. So it really, being able to help the candidate understand that
Mhm.
allows you the opportunity to really talk more specifically to the ideal candidate persona, that you want to or need to have working in your organization.
Yeah. Candidates, they want to know what it's like. I mean, they want to know what it's like to work there. And man, one of the highest cost things I think is what, turnover, right? When you have to rehire, retrain, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, bouncing off of that to point number 2 or tip number 2, it's the user experience, right? And you need to offer a great one. And so really be cognizant of what's the navigation like on the career site. Yeah, you have to remember that we all have very short attention spans these days, and it's just how we've evolved.
Yeah.
through social media and the constant scroll on the mobile, on the mobile device and everything. So our attention spans are really, really short. So when we're navigating that information that we're trying to convey to the candidate, we want to look at how do we deliver that in bite-sized pieces that are kind of going to take that candidate on a journey to continue to learn more. So maybe if they're interested in culture, you talk about, at the very, very high level, what culture means to your organization. And then you have a little button that says learn more. And then they can take it to that next step if they want to, The same with benefits or working hours and, whatever it is that you want to communicate that's going to be important to that candidate. I mentioned mobile, got to be mobile friendly. I am still finding career sites where I get over to a certain area and I'm like, okay, I've got to play on my phone, how I've got to make sure that I can take a look at the text because it's so super small that I can't even read it on my phones, So really, even in today's era, you would think that that's not happening anymore, but it is. So be aware of that and make it visually appealing. Lots of white space, lots of photographs and movement and all of those different things that invite a person to actually stay engaged with that content, right?
Yeah.
And then the final piece to the user experience, I think, is multiple interaction points. And so a lot of times, again, the employer, the organization will say, well, I've got the applicant tracking system. So, they can just click apply really easy. We've made that easy for them. They can click apply and then they can go. I call that the apply or fly option. And so I'm either going to choose to apply or I'm going to choose to leave your career site. If I choose to leave your career site, the possibility of me returning, I'm going to get lost somewhere else and I'm going to apply somewhere else. So how else can you get me as a candidate engaged? And so part of it might be give an option to apply, maybe join a talent community where I only have to give you my email address and maybe my years of experience in a certain, career category. And I don't have to complete the whole drawn out application, right? Or maybe I can register for a career event as a next step in my process of interacting with your brand. Or maybe you've got a chat bot up on the website that actually can give me PDFs of different information that I might need, or links over to other pages on the website for the information that I need. And while I, as a candidate, am getting that, you as a chatbot are also collecting information from me. How many years of experience do you have? What's your name? What's your email address? Can we call you? What's your phone number? Or would you be open to a text message from us? Different things like that to create different engagement points beyond the apply or fly.
Yeah, no, I would say a clunky website is definitely going to drive people away. No doubt about it. So,
oh, yes. it's like people don't have patience anymore.
Mhm.
I think we probably talked about it on another session where,
Mhm.
my 3-minute lunch in the microwave is causing me angst because I have to wait 3 minutes for it to heat up.
You are correct.
So, yeah, we want to create an experience with that candidate where they're going to say, wow, that was easy. That was informative.
Mhm.
So, once we've got them at that point, then tip number 3 is really creating compelling job descriptions. And this is something that we focus big on at Impact Talent, is that, we used to, for SEO and all that fun stuff, we used to keyword stuff job
Mhm.
descriptions, to get it to pop out on the
Mhm.
internet. Now it's all about that compelling content.
Mhm.
But you got to hit them up front. You can't put all the good stuff at the bottom
Yeah.
of the job description. So you've got to
Mhm.
really hit them up front. You got to talk to them about, what what's in it for them, right?
Mhm.
So, what is it? What are their unique responsibilities of the role? What are the challenges of the role? People are looking for that authenticity and that transparency. So let's not sugarcoat the job to the point where you were talking about turnover being expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah, two
Yeah.
and a half times the salary on average. It's
Mhm.
like, do you really want them walking out the doors, 2 months after they came in, just because they're getting this vibe that they signed up for something totally different?
Right.
Or do you want to be straight with them and say, this is what it's like working here? And
Mhm.
that's okay, because that's who we are. And we're
Mhm.
going to attract people that like that kind of work and like that kind of environment that we have, you know, and we're not going to be a good fit for everybody. And as an employer, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
it's very much like in marketing with the ideal consumer,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's the same exact setup.
Yeah. I
And
I love the day in the life. Like, what does it look like? A normal day, a normal week. That really gives me context for work.
yes, absolutely. When you round out that with what's the team like to work with,
Mhm.
what is it going to be, that I'm more autonomous doing my own thing, or is it going to be a collaborative team environment? Help them understand how they're going to be interacting
Yeah.
with the team throughout the day. And then, of course, the last thing I think most people want to know is, what's my potential for growth and the
Mhm.
opportunities that exist within that
Sure.
organization.
Sure.
Especially in the younger generation, they want to be able to, like, really tackle a job, learn it, master it, and then move on
Mhm.
to another role. So they need to understand kind of where does that fit in many times with what their goals are, and what they want to accomplish in
Yeah.
their career life against yours. So that's very
Yeah.
important.
No, that's a great point. Do you have any thoughts on like candidate personalization, like data that, when you know more about candidates and what the right candidate is, do you see much happening in that space?
It's only going to get more personalized in
Mhm.
2025. And I think AI is going to make it easier for that to happen. But
Mhm.
we've all already seen that trend occurring over the last, I would say, maybe 4 to 5 years already. There's a lot of great data that's being collected through career sites that are powered by, specific applicant tracking systems,
Mhm.
where they can actually serve up content related to, was the candidate on the site before? And
Mhm.
if so, what kind of role did they search for? What kind of location were they interested in? If
Right.
they return, I'll serve up similar,
Mhm.
right, types of information. My one caveat with that, and the one thing that we consult on with clients is make sure that the candidate still has the option of controlling those parameters,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe I want to look more nationally
Yeah.
for your company now than I did last time I was here. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I can change those parameters and I'm not
Right.
stuck with just that job search results.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is hiring stages. So, if the recruiters are putting a candidate through and they're getting ready for their first interview, they've already had the pre-screen and they come on to the career site, then there are ways that the technology can actually say, hey, let's get ready for your interview. Click here for a link to our interview tips page where
Mm-hmm.
it can take them through what to expect in the interview process, how long it's going to be, what kinds of questions
Yeah.
they're going to be asking, and that sort of thing. So, again, very personalized
Mm-hmm.
to where they're at in the hiring cycle stages. And it's only going to get better, I think,
Yeah.
as we go through 2025.
Cool. Very cool. I like that. I mean, I know we're sort of, these are all like your tips, but I think I'm learning a lot for some of that customization opportunities and really how someone might really get to know you, whether they're right fit at that moment or not. It sounds like you're building a relationship and building some rapport there.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on like passive candidates, or do you focus much in that space?
Oh, that's the sweet spot,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is quality is such a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of the roles in which we work with clients on, most of the people that they need for their roles are already actively employed.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to that, it's just all about really tip number 5, is looking at what are those content marketing strategies that you can do to help bring in that passive audience to your site when they might just be looking on the internet for something totally different.
Right.
Through
Mm-hmm.
blog posts are huge, and you
Mm-hmm.
would think blogs, I mean, they've been around for 20 years. That's not anything new. But at the same time, if it's content specific
Mm-hmm.
to, the whole career journey of the candidate and talking about what you're doing with your brand to support employees, to support the community, whatever, I think that is still extremely relevant to bring in those passive job seekers.
Yeah.
Along with that, company news, I've seen so many sites get away from that, away from posting
Mm-hmm.
their company news. And I
Yeah.
think that might be a mistake, kind of a misfire for them.
Totally.
Event info, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about some companies will actually try to invite passive job seekers in to hear a webinar that would provide continuing education units
Mm-hmm.
after they've gone through the webinar, just as a way to kind of get them exposed to their brand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another way to go about it. Or thought leadership pieces that your passive candidates are going to stumble over when they're out
Mm-hmm.
there searching the internet for other bits and pieces of information. So all of that can really work well.
Mm-hmm.
And then retargeting. So let's say I'm the candidate, I've logged on to your career site, but I'm on my lunch break. I'm sitting in the cafeteria and I'm just getting started. And then my best friend comes along and bops down next to me. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, gonna close out that, don't want anybody at work to know
Yeah.
that I might be looking for something. So I'm going to close out of that. Well, on the career site part of it, I can retarget
Mm-hmm.
that candidate and, serve up another call to action to
Yeah.
either get them to sign up for the newsletter or whatever it is, right? To kind of bring them back or get more information as to
Mm-hmm.
who you are, what were you looking for,
Yeah.
how can we build that relationship? So I think that's
Yeah.
very
That's good
important.
too. The retargeting too. You could just support your brand because even you might find some people are in the hiring process, right? Or other places. You could also just, support the brand of the company, try to elevate that would be kind of nice too. So,
Yeah. And there's so many times where the candidate is also a potential consumer
mm-hmm.
of of that
Yeah.
product, right? Or that solution.
Mm-hmm.
So, you definitely can leverage that and be mindful of that in the way that you're messaging them. So always
Yeah.
a good experience.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a long-term game, isn't it? I mean, it really is. You don't, every time someone says something bad about your hiring process or how nobody called them or, they drug them, there is a ripple effect of, they tell two friends, they tell two friends. That is your brand, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And it can really have significant impact in other ways
Hmm.
beyond just recruitment, right? It can really go to revenue,
Yeah.
um, and loss of revenue as a result.
Hmm.
So it's so important. And so I'm really glad I got a chance to talk about this subject today and kind of put people on the right path for 2025. I know a lot of you out there are doing all of these things and they're doing it right. Keep on doing it,
Hmm.
but for those of you that are really struggling for, that quality candidate, yeah, look back through this, see what you're not doing that you might be able to incorporate,
Yeah.
because it can really make a difference.
Yeah. Do you want to? There was a lot of tips here. Do you want to summarize the top? Was it five, real
Yeah.
quick? And then,
Yep.
okay.
So reflect on your employer brand, right? Offer a great user experience. Really develop compelling job descriptions
Mhm.
that are going to be authentic to the roles. Personalize that candidate experience as much as you can, and then incorporate the content marketing strategies
Mhm.
to help explore a more passive candidate outreach, and keep bringing visitors back.
Mhm.
So you're really creating higher conversion levels.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting
And
you
what,
mentioned. Sorry. It's gonna
no, it's
ask
okay.
you.
But go ahead.
Well, you had mentioned like something about the I can't remember, but it made me think of like how HR has to justify sometimes the dollars they need to do these types of things, and you have to tie it to revenue. You have to show that this stuff has this ripple effect, that branding supports the whole company. Like I feel like when you look at these topics, it really helps you as a leader say, okay, here's why to the whole company we're doing these things, and here's these other things it impacts, because it can be very siloed if you don't sort of, I don't know, look at this in that way. So,
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier the whole thing about the employee turnover, right?
mm-hmm.
2.5 times salary or compensation that
Yeah,
includes benefits. So
right.
that that you're losing each time somebody walks out the door. So that's a huge, huge impact to the bottom
Mm-hmm.
line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you think about, okay, what advertising costs.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap
Right.
to put the messaging out there across all of
Mm-hmm.
these job boards or work through Indeed or any of that sort of things. So, if I can reduce those costs
Mm-hmm.
because I'm more effective in converting talent that
Mm-hmm.
actually wants to do that role,
Mm-hmm.
loves the challenges of that role,
Yeah.
right? They're going to
Mm-hmm.
stick around longer. So therefore, I won't have to advertise as frequently for that role.
Mm-hmm.
So there's cost savings there as
Yeah.
well. And employee morale is a huge, often overlooked by, I think, the C-suite in some
Yeah.
cases, to how they're getting impacted by those roles being open. And so, if their morale goes down, then they're not going to be representing your brand in the best way that they can either, right? So it is very, domino effect type of thing that is happening with recruitment. But the benefits are definitely there,
right?
If you add all of this stuff into it.
Awesome, love it. So this is good stuff.
Well, thank you. I'm passionate about it, so I'm happy to hopefully kick the new year off with some tips that everybody can take back and start to implement.
Love it. Very good. Well, I'll close this out. Appreciate everybody for joining us today. We hope you join us next time for Ready, Set, Action with Deborah Horowitz and Christina Whitmer. You can follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. And we'll see you next week and hope to hear how you're progressing with your business. So this will be great. Take care.